Well, it's another Wednesday night, and we welcome you to the Beach House Grill here in Old Town Fort Collins. It's time to talk some Colorado State Ram football here across the Colorado State Sports Network. Welcome, everybody. Brian Roth with you here at the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins. Just 2 shows left here on the season. Well, if you have not been down yet this year, we invite you to get out here, take in some great food and drink it, listen and talk some Ram football. Colorado State coming off their best road showing of the season. The Rams went down to San Diego to take on a very good San Diego State Aztec team. And the Rams had a chance late in that game, but would fall just short in a 24-19 loss. But it was hands down the best performance of the year this year for Colorado State. And the Rams are now going to come back home, a place where they have been absolutely brilliant here this season. They sit at 3-1 on their home field. They have played outstanding, and they're going to get the BYU Cougars in town coming up on Saturday afternoon. That's going to be a 12 noon kickoff at Sonny Lubick Field at Hughes Stadium. BYU coming into that contest at 4-5, but remember, that's a BYU team that opened up the season at 1-4. They have since won 3 of their past 4 games, and just like Colorado State, BYU playing a true freshman quarterback in Jake Heaps. Of course, the Rams have started a true freshman under center throughout the first 10 games this year in Pete Thomas. So it'll be interesting to see a pair of true freshman quarterbacks battle coming up on Saturday afternoon at Hughes Stadium. Don't forget, tickets are on sale for that Ram home finale. And again, it is senior day. We invite you to arrive early for that one to say goodbye to 16 departing seniors who will play their final game at Hughes Stadium. And don't forget, it's a Pepsi 4-pack day. That means you get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, and 4 sodas for only $80. Orders, though, must be placed by Friday to get in on that Pepsi 4-pack. Call 1-800-491-RAMS or visit the all-new CSURams.com for tickets. Well, we'll sit down with the coach. Steve Fairchild gets his thoughts on last week's contest. That comes up next. It's the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show live in Fort Collins from Delegate Sports from the Colorado State Sports Network. Steve, your team coming off a 24-19 loss on the road at San Diego State. What were some of your thoughts on the game? It was certainly a game I know you felt like you guys could have, maybe even should have won.
Well, we had a chance, and obviously up until the last play of the game, we're playing to decide the outcome, which was good. I thought our team played extremely hard. I was very, very proud of our football team and our coaches and the way we just went about business on the road against a very good team, and the effort that we played with, and really how technically sound we played. There were just a lot of really good things going on out there last Saturday night. Defensively, we really played well. Anytime you can get 5 turnovers and pressure the quarterback, I think we had 3 3-and-outs. I thought we dominated the game defensively. We did a nice job taking away what San Diego State wanted to do, which was create the big play with those wideouts. Offensively, we had our chances. There were a number of opportunities that we let get off the scoreboard for us. But again, I thought it was a well-played game and one we certainly could have won.
That was a game going into halftime. Kind of had to pinch yourself and say, what? After what we just saw, how are the Rams down 7-6? I know it was a game you probably thought you should have been up 14-0, maybe even 17-0.
Something at that point. We missed a field goal, and the other opportunities when we got down in there, we just, it seemed like we shot ourselves in the foot with a negative play and put ourselves into a real, not a good down and distance situation in the red zone. So we ended up kicking field goals. And any time you do that on the road, it usually comes back to haunt you. You got to get the ball in the end zone. But we certainly had chances. And, again, I like the way a lot of the kids, or all the kids played. And, we just didn't do enough to get it done.
One of those chances was on the opening drive when you ran the play for Pete Thomas.
Right.
That was obviously something you guys had seen during the week.
Yeah, and it is. And it's a play we've run. I think Grant Stucker scored on it the year before. It's one of those, against the right defensive scheme at the right time. It's probably a once or twice a year type of thing. And but we certainly had him wide open, and it's just unfortunate that we didn't come out with 7 points there.
Yeah. You guys had only forced 7 turnovers all season long through the first 9 games, and then in Game 10 you forced 5.
Well, and some of those were special teams turnovers. So defensively, we weren't taking the ball away, and that's something we continue to talk about, because to be a good defense, we've got to take the football away, and we've got to be much stouter on third down than we have been since I've been here, and we certainly rose up in both those areas against San Diego State.
Did you feel a game like that coming on defensively where you were going to break through on the turnover department?
I don't look at it one game at a time. We're obviously not where we want to be, and I don't see myself looking at quarterly earnings. I want to look at the big picture, and we'll continue to go up and down here a little bit. But all along, I think we've been improving in all three phases. We've certainly got some bright spots, and I think we're starting to hit our stride a little bit. And I think there's some good things in the future for our football program.
Of course, one of those turnovers led to a touchdown defensively for Michael Sisson, 88-yard fumble recovery for him. He's the one that jarred the ball loose, and then it came right back to him. I happened to look over at your bench right after he crossed that end zone, and that's about as excited of a sideline as I've seen all season long.
I don't know in 25, 30 years of coaching, I've seen a one play impact a game like that play did. And Michael's certainly a playmaker, and he did that against BYU 2 years ago where he strip, scoop, and score type of thing on the defense side of the ball. He played a tremendous game. Tackles for losses, forced fumbles, scored a touchdown, pressures, sacks, you name it. Michael was out there doing it.
We talked on the show last week about trying to take away the big play. You guys were going to defensively kind of work from the outside in. You guys did a great job. You only held Ryan Lindley to 171 yards passing, and I know that's a number you take every day. And then Brown and Sampson, they're two NFL caliber receivers, had 5 receptions total.
Well, that's how they want to beat you, and really it's just good defensive football when you do that to any team. And it may not be the wideouts every week, but it's the old Bill Belichick thing that find out what they want to do and stop that. Make them beat you doing something else. And when you look at BYU, it's the halfback. I mean, there's no two ways about it. That guy running and catching the football is a lot of productivity for their offense. And if you take him out of the mix, and if you keep an eye on him, then they've got to do something else to beat you. And that's the way you want to play defensive football.
Yeah. One final thought on your defense. End of the game, you don't get the onside kick, which was so close. Vandermold and I think probably kicked as good of an onside kick as you possibly can.
Well, it did. It got up there on the second kick up in the air and gave us a chance to get it, and unfortunately we didn't.
And then your defense comes out. You have to get a 3 and out, otherwise the game's over, and they do just that.
No question. Got a 3 and out and gave us a chance, and even in that last play, we've got a chance to run by him and make a big play. So. There were opportunities there for us.
Yeah. We'll talk more about the Aztec game. Take a look ahead at BYU's Senior Day coming up here this weekend in Fort Collins. More to come in the Coors Light. Steve Fairchild, Coaches Show in the Colorado State Sports. Just getting started here tonight for the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins for the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. I've already had a segment with the coach. Time to give out that phone number if you have a question or a comment for the coach. 1-866-702-7691. Again, that's 1-866-702-7691. It's a telephone number to get on board. We also have the in-house mic for anybody out there that may or may not have a question. Brandy, I know you're eyeballing it already. Steve, Pete Thomas, going home, how'd you think he handled it? I thought he played very well.
Yeah, he did. First of all, I thought he handled the whole situation very professionally, which I knew he would. It's a great family, and I know he had a chance to see him, as a lot of our players from that area had a chance to see their families. But, that defense that they run is a very pressure type of defense, and although I think we simulated it very well in practice for him and the offensive line, it's still different when you go out there and play against the real thing on Saturday night. So that was a very big challenge, and I thought they played well. I thought they accepted that challenge and stood in the pocket and made some throws and did some nice things.
Defensively for San Diego State, we talked about that Rocky Long defense on the show last week. They really shut down your run game. Was it something they were making a concerted effort to do?
Yes, they were. A little more than I anticipated. Played with one more guy pressuring than they normally had. They were doing a lot more line movement than I had anticipated, and probably never got into a rhythm running the football like we wanted to. However, that did give us opportunities throwing it, and we cashed in on a few, and we missed on some real big ones. And I'd like to think if we played that game again, we'd make some of those plays.
Yeah. Talk about the running back rotation, because Carter and Mason each get double-figure carries, but we didn't see anything out of Chris Woke. Is he okay?
Yeah, no, Chris is fine.
Okay.
And again, sometimes you just get into the flow of a game, and it's just that's the way it's going to happen sometimes. And Chris may end up getting the bulk of the load this week. You never know. So, and again, there's certain things on a game plan that you designate if everybody's healthy, that a certain back's going to be in there for that type of play or that type of package, and and then you don't end up calling everything. You just call bits and pieces, and so one guy may end up playing a little more because of that as well.
We've talked about it throughout the season, a little bit of inconsistency in that running game. Is that frustrating as an offensive coach, where one week you're running all over people, the next week you can't? And I know competition dictates that too.
Well, competition and scheme and the way they try to play you. I mean, if Air Force is going to play you with two deep safeties, you're going to run the ball for 200 yards. If San Diego State's going to, put 8 guys up in the box, you're not running the ball for 200 yards. So,
yeah.
A little of that's us making adjustments and trying to go and take what the defense gives you. But I think our run game has improved as the years gone on. I think our offensive line's made terrific steps, and our backs are starting to finish runs the way we'd like. So I see it going in a positive direction.
Wide receiver play. One kid that continues to stand out as he looks to get better and better, more comfortable at the wide receiver spot is Luke Greenwood. Comment on his maturity. He had 7 more catches on Saturday.
Yeah, he's really developing into what I think is going to be an all-conference type receiver. He has not redshirted. He was a running back. This is all new to him, and plus the volume of offense that we run and so forth. So. But you could see throughout this season he's been taking steps forward, and certainly has a tremendous amount of athletic ability. He's a good, tough kid, and being an ex-running back, he gives us that run after catch, which is very, very important.
Yeah, another guy who's fantastic catching the football and is great after the catch. We're going to have him on the show coming up a little bit later. Zach Pauga, the senior fullback, he is having an all-conference type of year.
Zach's been tremendous, and I can't tell you the activity of the pro scouts is how much it's picked up, looking at him. First of all, because he's a true fullback. He can block in the run game. He can pass block. He can carry the ball inside the tackles. And then he's been an effective receiver when we've used him in that capacity. So he's had a tremendous year. And you mentioned that run after catch. He continues to do that. The first guy doesn't get him on the ground, and that's awfully important.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've seen Zach Pauga where he has had somebody not just try to tackle him, but come up and really lay a shot on him after he catches it, and guys just bounce off him.
Yeah, he's just a naturally strong guy, and the body type. He's got a low center of gravity, and he's athletic. He's fairly quick for his size, and he doesn't let you get a square shot on him all the time. And but he's been unbelievable with the ball in his hands this season.
Yep, and he is also your second leading receiver, tied with Lou Greenwood at 27 receptions on the season. Tyson Liggett still leads you with 33, but 27 receptions out of the backfield for Zach Pauga certainly has become a big weapon for the Rams. All right, we move forward. We'll take a look at some of the injuries the Rams have going right now. We'll also look at those Cougars of BYU as that game comes up on Saturday. But first, a timeout. We're live at the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins, the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show on the Colorado State Sports Network. Back here at the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins for the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show, second to last show here of the year. And don't forget, that gives you one more chance to come on out here at Beach House Grill, 125 South College Avenue in Old Town Fort Collins. We're here Wednesday nights, 6:30 to 7:30 for the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. Steve, let's take a look at some of those injuries. And boy, my heart sank on Saturday night when I saw Alex Williams go down. We had him on the show earlier this year, your fine senior linebacker.
Well, tremendous middle linebacker for us. You got to love Alex, just the hardest working guy. And, he was a former walk-on, and when we got here, we gave him a scholarship, and he's been starting in the middle now for 2 years for us, and he'll be missed. But that's part of the game, and And then Mike Wallach obviously stepped in, and we expect him to pick up the slack and do a great job in there for us.
Yeah, I guess the silver lining in all that is that you do have a little bit of depth at that position.
Yeah, we felt like coming into the season, we've got some linebackers that have played quite a few that have played quite a bit of football for us. So, and really overall, you hate to see this happen to Alex, but we are relatively healthy considering, we haven't had a bye and we're going into week 11, I guess it is here. So, somebody's got to step up. That's the game of football, and when one guy can't go, somebody else has to, step up and do it.
How about offensive tackle Paul Madsen?
Paul will be back. He's practiced all week. The Matt Yem had a little ankle, and he's going to be back tomorrow. He'll play. I'm trying to think who else. T.J. Borky's got a little ankle, and we'll see where he's at Saturday. So. And
Derek Good, is he okay?
Derek Good, another injury that he's not practicing as we speak, but I expect he'll have a chance to be able to go Saturday.
Okay. That injury report brought to you by Poudre Valley Health System. They're proud to be the exclusive healthcare sponsor of Ram Athletics, and proud to state that when you need medical care, they're here for you. For more information, visit pvhs.org. We'll talk about the Cougars and have more coming up after this. Live at the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins, the Colorado State Sports Network. Moving right along here tonight from the Beach House Grill, Old Town Fort Collins. Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show here in the Colorado State Sports Network. Brian Roth along with Coach Steve Fairchild with you. Getting that phone number tonight, 1-866-702-7691. Before we go to the phones, let's go to our in-house studio microphone. And Brandy is with us. What do you have, Brandy?
So let's talk about the line of scrimmage. That's kind of where it all starts.
Go ahead.
The line of scrimmage, you kind of see just fingertips and face masks. There's just that moment of calm before the storm. So if we're on offense, what are you watching more, offense or defense?
If we're on offense, I know where we're going to go. I'm watching the defense more. I'd like to see the alignment, the front structure. Is there some sort of tip? Are they going to pressure us? Because if we're on the offense side of the ball, I know what we have called and what should happen, and I want to see the look our guys are going to get. So I'm much more focused on the defense.
And then do you tell the defensive coordinator?
Well, then
or is he looking at it also?
They're usually, when we're on offense, they're usually coaching their guys on the sidelines. We're looking at their defense to kind of get an idea of what's going on and what we need to do and the adjustments we need to make. Then when we're on defense, all eyes are on the opposing team's offense to see their alignment and what they're doing, and obviously the adjustments and things that have to occur on that. So you're usually watching the opponent. It's like a chess game, and you kind of know where your pieces are, but you're watching the other side to kind of decide, hey, this might be the best course of action to take.
All right, Brandy. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. And again, if anybody else here has a question or a comment for the coach in-house, feel free to come on up. Let's go to the...
Brandy knows so much football, she gets an applause with the questions so good. So
she didn't throw you softballs usually. That one was a little lighter than some of the previous weeks, wasn't it? Let's go to the phone lines. Bring in Daryl from Knoxville. Daryl, good evening.
Hi, guys. Thanks for letting me follow Brandy. That's great.
Those big shoes, Daryl.
Yeah, that's tough. Let's see if I can get this one out. Steve, you were at the issue when the Mountain West was formed, and BYU was kind of that integral part of that process. And now we are here today and watching this team leave the conference. And as a fan, I think the word that comes to mind for me is betrayal. And I don't know if that's too strong. I don't know if coaches and administrators within the Mountain West kind of view BYU doing this as a betrayal. This is a fan's perspective, but I just wonder.
You're right, and you go back to the '90s when we all kind of formed the Mountain West Conference out of the WAC, and I go back as far as being a student athlete here in the '70s and playing against BYU. And betrayal, I don't know about that word, but, there is a lot of disappointment when you talk throughout the Mountain West Conference, that they're leaving. And I've said this all along. What happened in college football this summer is somewhat disheartening because I realize finances are a big part of any of any college football program, but when you start losing sight of fans and heritage and rivalries and geography and things like that, and just chase a TV buck, I'm not sure you're doing what's in the best interest of college football.
I couldn't agree more. I guess one last question, and maybe this is a little tough, but should this be the last time CSU plays BYU?
I'm gonna leave that to people over my head to decide. But I'll tell you what, there is a underlying feeling that if and I know they came out and said they would like to play Mountain West football teams, and I think the Mountain West kind of says, well, if that's what you wanted to do, then why didn't you stay in the Mountain West? So
that's right.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure you're going to see. Obviously, they're going to keep their game with Utah because that's a natural rivalry. I don't know if you're going to see BYU playing a lot of Mountain West Conference football teams. Now, I could be wrong, but we'll just see how it unfolds.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you, Daryl. Appreciate that. Steve, speaking strictly for me, I would love to see BYU struggle each and every year trying to fill their non-conference slate each and every year and be stuck with Sun Belt teams, WAC teams, an occasional game against Notre Dame.
Well, and the thing that goes without saying, too, is everybody's looking at them as a football program, but now what did that do to all their other sports? They lose their identity in every other sport that they have. I'm not sure it was thought out quite like it should have been, but that's just my opinion.
Well, that's a great point. I mean, a guy like Dave Rose, is their head basketball coach, has that team in the top 25. They now get to go play in the West Coast Conference.
Yeah, I mean, what does that do? I mean, then look at all the travel for teams like track and field, and I mean, now you're not just going to Wyoming, you're going all the way to the Bay Area, and it just I don't know, it doesn't make sense.
Nope, doesn't make sense, but it must make some sense in terms of dollars and cents, otherwise they wouldn't have done it, and that was the sole reason they did it. All right, we'll get off that subject and get back to football when we return here to the Beach House Grill, Old Town Fort Collins. From Milligan Sports, Colorado State Sports Network.